A preview about angles. You are familiar with angles with the courses of geometry and trigonometry that you may have taken before. So you know that an angle has a vertex, which is the beginning point, and then it's composed of two rays. One of them is called the starting one, and the other one is the terminal one. So having these two rays which meet at the vertex, if we move from the starting to the terminal one counterclockwise, then we are working with a positive angle. But if we go from the starting ray to the terminal ray in a clockwise motion, then we create a negative angle. To measure angles, we can use either degree as a unit, or we can use radians. And you will learn how to convert between these two. For example, 30 degrees, you will learn that that is equal to pi over 6 radians. For instance, 60 degrees is pi over 3 radians. And that's actually a very easy conversion, because think of pi in radians as 180 degrees. So when you know this, when you remember this, then it's basically, instead of pi over 6, basically you're saying 180 divided by 6, which gives you 30. You will also learn how to go from what we call degree, minute, second, to just the degree decimal, and also back. So here I'm not talking about two different units of measurement. It's just a conversion from saying specifically, for instance, 35 degrees, 26 minutes, and 10 seconds. How to write that as 35 point, whatever it is, the decimal, let's say 40 or 41 degrees, or how to go back from the decimal that is given to you and break it into smaller parts of minutes and seconds. You will learn that. Then there is what we call the arc length. So if we are working with a circle, then each arc on this circle, you can measure that length, and that length has a formula, which is S equals R times theta, R being the radius of the circle, and theta being the corresponding positive angle that is formed here. However, we need to know that this theta must be measured in radians and used in this formula in radians, not in degrees. So this is a very crucial point, that if you're solving a question about arc length and theta is given to you, the angle is given to you in degrees, first you have to convert it to radians. After that, you would substitute it into this formula. We also talk about area of a sector. So again, if we have the circle with radius r and positive angle theta, then we are talking about the area that is associating with this sector here. And that area is measured by the formula 1/2 r squared theta. R, again, that's the radius, and theta must be used in radians measured in this formula. We also talk about angular speed. And linear speed. And both of them, we are talking about an object that is in motion around a circle, let's say. So when that happens, when you have this object moving around the circle, then circle has a radius. The object starts from here, let's say is moving up to this point or wherever it goes. But two things are happening. It's covering this angle That's why we talk about angular speed, but it's also covering this arc here, which makes us talk about linear speed, because if you open this arc, then you just have a distance that has been covered. So for angular speed, and of course speed itself tells us what has been covered over time. We show it with omega. So then it's the angle that has been covered over the period of time. And this angle, again, must be measured in radians. So if it's given to us in degrees, first you convert it. And then linear speed, V is equal to the arc length. Remember that you have the formula of the arc length here, divided by time. And then there is a direct relationship between these two, that we can say linear speed is equal to the radius times angular speed. So you can also go from one to the other directly using this formula. So that's basically everything that will be covered in this section 1.1. Please make sure that you start watching all the supplemental instructional videos. Each video is about 5, 6, 7 minutes. In some rare cases, they go up to 10 minutes, but usually they are about 5 minutes on average. Watch all those videos, take notes, and be ready to do the practice exercises before you